it's all on the tab. So yeah, we'll just.
Nice afternoon, nice
beautiful,
beer.
beautiful afternoon. Nice, beautiful mural of Marichui Patricio behind us. So,
like what we're going to say is going to change the course of the race.
That's right.
Wait a minute. Somebody, was that somebody over there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me see here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Oh, I think it is Nieto.
Oh, there you are. Hi.
Come on in.
Come over here. We're waiting for you.
Yeah. So hi everybody, welcome to MexElects. Today we're going to talk about the leaders of the political parties that we discussed yesterday, and we're going to start in reverse order, and there are a couple of reasons for that. The third candidate, Andreas Manuel Lopez Obrador, is not only has the longest name, he has the longest history of running for the presidency 2 previous times. He's run for the presidency, this makes his third, the leader of Morena. So we're going to talk about AMLO, as he's known, and find a bit more about him because he is leading in the polls at this very moment.
All right. Thanks, Colin. And salud.
Cheers. Salud.
So Andrés Manuel López Obrador, or AMLO, is the guy to beat in this election. AMLO has been on the Mexican political scene for a generation. He was a young political science major at the UNAM. Then he went off to work on the campaign of the poet-senator, Carlos Pellicer, and then was one of the founders, along with Cuauhtémoc Cárdenas, of the PRD after the fraudulent 1988 election. He then went on to be the gubernatorial candidate for the PRD in Tabasco. He's really been fighting electoral fraud his entire life. He's been really fighting for free and clear elections. He was elected in 2000 for the PRD as only the second opposition mayor in Mexico City, and had by all accounts, a very successful term as mayor of Mexico City with regards to infrastructure projects, the University of the City of Mexico, the Metro bus, the second floors on the highways to help ease congestion, kind of the revitalization of the downtown, and then ran for president in 2006, also a very controversial election where fraud was involved. According to official results, lost by 0.56% to Felipe Calderón.
It's just a little suspicious.
How far you can trust the official figures. Ran again in 2012, again a controversial election with a lot of allegations of vote buying, vote coercion, overspending, and many other things. Lost by official figures by about 6 points to Enrique Pena Nieto, after which he formed his own party, Morena, which we talked about in the last video, because the PRD had really at that point lost the progressive impulse it had had in its foundation.
Right.
So Morena is now his party, and he is, as Colin said, ahead in the polls. According to a poll I just saw today on Our Taking News, he's up by about 11 points over his closest rival.
So ahead by 11 points of the next candidate, and that is the PAN's candidate, Ricardo Anaya, who is kind of new to the political scene, but like all politicians in Mexico, he has a bit of a history.
Yes, Ricardo Anaya comes from kind of upper middle class circumstances in the city of Querétaro, about 3 hours from Mexico City. Anaya studied at the UNAM and then went on. No, studied in Querétaro and went on to get a doctorate in political science at the UNAM. So his kind of playing card is that he's young, he's 38, he's cosmopolitan, he speaks a lot of languages, he's got a doctoral degree. Kind of the cosmopolitan PAN candidate. This is the image he's trying to project. He was a PAN in the House of Representatives, and then was the president of the party, and then decided to launch his candidacy. His launching of his candidacy created a split in the PAN between those who support Anaya and those who support former President Felipe Calderón, including his wife, Margarita Zavala, who is now struck out as an independent candidate, and looks like she'll get the signatures necessary to be on the ballot as an independent candidate, which could very well threaten to split the PAN vote. Another problem with Anaya is that the Universal newspaper came out with a report last year about kind of how his family has enriched themselves over the time that Anaya has been in politics, something he fiercely disputed and took to court. And just a few days ago, another story came out in the Proceso magazine about how he used a foundation to acquire a territory, build a building, which he then flipped for a lot of money for his, allegedly, for his contractor friends, which is very common in Mexican politics. Again, something he denies. So we'll see if this dogs Anaya going forward.
Right, the Achilles heel of a lot of politicians, including the current president, Pena Nieto.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other
story.
whole other capsule.
So let's finish up with Jose Antonio Meade or Meade, depending on the audience, who's the leader of the PRI and is trailing in the polls as we speak.
Yeah, so the PRI, which has been dogged totally by the corruption issue throughout the entire term of Enrique Pena Nieto, changed their statutes to allow, for the first time, a non-PRI militant to run for the presidency under their banner. The idea was to get a non-PRI member there who's not associated with the corruption of the Pena Nieto regime, a fresh face out of there. The thing is that Meade has been in the cabinets of two governments, both Calderon's and Pena Nieto's on 5 different occasions. So he's certainly been around the block in that case. And the problem is, so far, Meade's candidacy is not taking off because he's not a charismatic candidate.
Right.
And however much he's trying to be seen as the outsider to the PRI, he has to do all this kind of protocol stuff of taking all the pictures and doing all the abrazos with some of the most corrupt elements of the party, which isn't helping his candidacy at all.
Right. Okay, so that's a lot to think about.
One more thing before we do finish, though, is the independent candidates.
Yes, of course.
As we mentioned in the last video, this will be very brief, the law has been changed to allow independent candidates to run. That's a real wild card in this election. So besides Calderon's wife, Margarita Zavala, the governor of Nuevo Laredo, the state of Nuevo Laredo, Jaime Rodriguez Calderon, the Bronco, looks like he'll get enough signatures to be on the ballot. Yeah. And Senator, former PRD member Armando Rios Peter, also looks like he's going to get on the ballot. So there's going to be... This is new territory in Mexican politics. We don't know how these independent candidates are going to play out. They will get public financing if they qualify to get on the ballot. Right. And it remains to be seen if Marichui will be able to get the signatures required to get on the ballot. That looks like still a very uphill battle for her. There's only 2 weeks left to do that.
Right. Okay. Thanks very much.